mutating much faster. So right now already we have PDR, something called totally drug-resistant variants of TB. I don't know what the next terminology we have to find out to define another strain. So all these antibiotics we are using are very toxic, especially hepatotoxic, and also after treatment, all the patients who are being treated with these antibiotics are much more vulnerable for reinfection and reactivation. So therefore, we need an entirely different approach. If I can quote Anthony Fauci, as I said, we need a radical and transformational approach. What is radical and transformational approach? We just kept on thinking, but I am quoting here the person Mao Zedong, but I don't know. Although I do not belong to left. Let 100 flowers bloom and let 100 schools of thought contain. We kept on thinking, but the only three problems we can find, there are three problems. First is MTB, which causes the latent infection, which is almost like unique, but although it's not completely unique, but definitely it's a kind of unique. And during the evolution, this bug somehow learned to co-evolve with the host immune responses. When the patient comes in the clinic, as you see, most of them, they show the PPD response. What is PPD response? Is nothing but the Th1 kind of response, which is supposed to be the host-protective immune response. So therefore, the one thing we have to answer, how this MTB bug survive within the susceptible host in spite of the heavy amount of host-protective immune response. Second question, obviously, there's no better vaccine other than BCG, which is invented in 1921, but BCG really doesn't work. So there are many clinical trials. So far, no other vaccine candidate is having better efficacy than vaccine. Now the question is why BCG fails. So far, we really do not know why BCG fails. And third thing, what we thought is there any possibility to have therapy of TB without generating MDR and XDR? So for today's talk, I'll talk about some of these. And we thought probably only way to go is the immunotherapy. Because if we say this is 1/3 of the global population infected with TB, but the thing is, rest of the third we are doing absolutely fine, although we live in the same condition. That's because our immune system is powerful enough to eradicate these bugs or protecting us from this disease. As you know, immunotherapy is mostly done by the recombinant proteins and antibodies, but we really don't think really that can be implied. That's because of it's a disease of a less fortunate neighborhood and also expensive, also antigenicity. There are many factors. So then we came up with the idea, and we have a small molecule directed immunotherapy. So simply you go to the market, when you are diagnosed TB, go to the market, buy a couple of pills, and kind of you can treat yourself. Is that possible at all? But so why not to try? That's because, as you know, this is in 15 years back. Nobody thought this is cell-pen will be available to everybody, even in the field. So now we are convinced that we can do immunotherapy, but for immunotherapy you need to harvest some kind of target. What kind of target? So if you look at in the literature, the MTB survives within the susceptible host by modulating immune response, the T helper cell response, where the disease outcome is actually dictated by the balance of Th1 and Th2 response. Th1, which one is the producer of interferon gamma, and the Th2. So in disease condition, what you see, this Th1 get less, and whereas the Th2 number goes high. So when we did experiment from my lab and many other labs, what we found is not really the story. It's not only the Th1, Th2. There's another important cell type which plays an important role, which is induced Tregs. So, and then another cell type nowadays buzzing a lot, which we call PS17, which produces the what's the heck? Let's do the experiment this way. We have generated animals with either having TH1, TH2, TH17, and Treg responses, and all the permutation combinations. So we did experiment with all these strains of animals. This strain of animal which is STAT6 knockout, which really cannot mount Tregs and the TH2, but they can induce huge number of the TH1 cells. When we did the experiment, the result looks like this. This is the regular kinetics of MTB infection in different organs, like in lungs, spleen, and liver. As you see, this is kind of kinetics we get over the period of time with the 60 days of infection. When we looked at these animals, which is STAT6 knockout in TGF-beta receptor dominant negative background, they are mostly resistant. But this is because these animals mostly can mount the TH1 responses. So whether that is because of only TH1 response, so what we did, we generated another strain of animal which is STAT6 knockout in Tibet knockout in a TGF-beta receptor dominant negative background. These mice neither induce TH1, TH2 or Treg. So as you see, these animals no more are resistant to MTB rather hyper susceptible, suggesting that indeed the TH1 plays a very important role for the host resistance. Now, if we can, from this experiment, we conclude that if you can inhibit the TH2 and Treg, probably that would be the immunotherapy of TB. As I mentioned, that we are not really looking for the classical immunotherapy or the protein or the recombinant protein or antibody induced. We are looking for small molecule. So fortunately, what we found in literature that the GSK is actually developing two molecules which are for the different indications, some other indications. One is supratestosterone, another is D4476. Supratestosterone is the kinase inhibitor in the IL-4 signaling pathway, as well as the D4476, which is another kinase inhibitor in the TGF-beta receptor, TGF-beta signaling pathway. As you know, the IL-4 is required for the differentiation of TH2, and TGF-beta is required for the differentiation of Treg. So therefore, obvious reason we did experiment with these small molecules. Once again, here is the regular kinetics of MTB infection. And as you see, this is when you use supratestosterone, the kinetics of course goes down, and also if you use the TGF-beta inhibitor, it goes down even further. If we combine both of them, it is almost the cure. But it's not the complete cure. As you see, that the baseline is actually 10 to the power 2. So and also this is because of hyper TH1 response, but because this kind of therapy really doesn't work in the Tibet knockout animals. So we thought this is, although we can reduce the bacterial burden, but it's not the complete cure. So I'm not going to most of the slides because my time is over. What we thought this is, if we can combine with the classical therapy with these small molecules, that could be the answer. But we ended up getting the answer is no. It's actually not really working. So later on, what we found, this is instead of using this antibiotic, these small molecules, if we can use the nanocurcumin, probably you can reduce the length of treatment and also better immunotherapeutic approach. And as you see, this is if we use the curcumin, this only very little bit. Whereas if we use curcumin plus INH, we can reduce the length of treatment, and also we restore most of the immune parameters in animals, and also we can dramatically reduce the hepatotoxicity by nanocurcumin. Having said that, we want to look at if nanocurcumin is helping, can we induce sterile immunity? Can we prevent the animals from the reinfection and reactivation? We did this experiment. As you see, this is infected and treated and rested, and then either dexamethasone, and to look at whether we can get back this disease. As you see, this is if you use nanocurcumin, probably animals are protected. Similarly, when we did the reinfection experiment, we really cannot infect these animals, the animals which have been treated with INH plus nanotactic, suggesting that indeed we have generated some kind of protective memory response. So this, I'm not going through the summary, already you have heard, but when we are talking about the therapy, there are already we have said this is MDR, XDR, some of them are RTDR. As you see, this is another molecule which is simply coming from the garlic. I saw a poster somewhere in gray. So allicin can kill MTB, MDR and XDR. So, but unfortunately, allicin is very unstable. So therefore, we are looking for some kind of hybrid molecule, which is a curcumin, and which is a very good immunomodulator, and the allicin, which is a very good antibiotics that can kill the regular TB as well as drug-resistant TB. So therefore, we are looking for a hybrid molecule which is having solubility, bioavailability, stability, and also we are looking for oral formulation. Already we have some of the molecules, but we are not still there yet. So therefore, at the end I would like to tell you the small story. So a small mouse who goes to school and then transforms, the modern days babu, and says, I would like to marry the most powerful on this universe. So he goes to our son and says, hey, I would like to marry your daughter. And the son really understood. He said, oh, I'm not really powerful. Do you know who is powerful? Often the cloud comes on my face, so you can't really see me. So you have to go to the cloud. So he goes to the cloud and says the same thing. The cloud says, okay, what you heard is really right, but I'm not really quite powerful. The wind, the power, actually floats me here and there, so I really can't resist myself. So you have to go to the wind, to power. Then wind says, well, whatever you have heard is right, but I'm not the most powerful. Every time I tried to move this stone down there, I really could not move. So probably he's the most powerful. He goes there and I'm not the most powerful. Somebody down there is, I'm sinking day by day. So he goes back and his community and happily get married. What I said that's because we have learned lots of chemical biology, synthesis, and this and that. At the end of the day, we got nothing but the drug resistance.